the case of Japan, we have to think about what we call the factor conditions, or the kind of the underlying reasons why they have certain forms of motorsport that they're excel at. First off, it's mountainous and it's rugged. It might sound bizarre, but it's important to keep in mind. Secondly, very high skilled, very highly educated. So that means you're going to have some high technology for sure. Very wealthy, very developed, so high income, also going to be more likely to be able to afford motor vehicles, motorcycles. Further, it's very urban. If you don't live in the Tokyo area, there's a few other urban areas, but there are very few rural areas. I mean, people don't live in rural areas. I mean, they do, but I mean, there's not a lot of them. I mean, overwhelmingly, most people in Japan, they live in urban areas. It's very dense, very, people living on top of each other. So what that means is, maybe automobiles might not be as popular. It might explain why motorcycles, because it's a much better, much easier way to maneuver through a very dense urban area, is with motorcycles or motorbikes or bicycles compared to the four-wheel vehicle. And so we think about that. It explains why here motorcycles, and we look at its motorsports history. Motorcycles is where Japan's had huge success. You just look at the success of the MotoGP or whatever the MotoGP, the World Championships in bike motorcycle racing at the elite level. The Japanese have dominated in terms of the riders, but also in terms of the manufacturers. So what we got is we got the big four. So whenever you hear the big four, that is Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, and Yamaha. So they're going to be participating in supercross, motocross here in the United States, but also in motorcycle racing across the world. So they've got those domestic companies, those domestic motorcycle manufacturers, which are the dominant ones, which are all Japanese. And so that also helps explain also why we have a large number of motorcycle participants is the big four. Further, tires. Now, tires plays a key role, maybe in understanding partly why drifting, most would say, originates there in Japan. Because they have the tire manufacturers. If you know anything about drifting, you're going to use up a lot of tires, a lot of tire smoke. So those tire manufacturers, Bridgestone, Toyo, Yokohama, there's the company, I'm going to butcher the name, but Sumitomo, which is the parent company for Falcon, but also Dunlop's subsidiary in Japan. So tire manufacturers are also very important. So drifting, if we think about drifting, it's a certain type of racing, which is a lot of twists and turns and a lot of oversteer. Well, let's go back to thinking about the geography of Japan. It's very mountainous. So a lot of the origins of drifting is kind of this illegal racing up through the mountains on all those switchbacks. And of course, with those tires, you're going to burn the hell out of the tires. We're not going to have big, huge cars here. So typically, there's often smaller cars that are souped up. So all this are kind of the factor conditions that explain why we also have a very prominent drift scene here, especially amongst those that live there on the rural urban fringe. I mean, if you're living in a dense urban area, maybe not so much. Drifting might not be of interest to you. But maybe if you're in the urban area, rally car racing might be of interest. Rally car racing is popular in Japan, mostly because of the dominant success, especially there in the 1990s, of Subaru, Japanese brand. Mitsubishi also was. And so in the 90s, rally car racing was dominated by the Japanese manufacturers. And just like anything, once you're successful, you're going to breed more success. You're going to bring more people wanting to be like Mike, to be like their heroes they see winning all the time. So in the United States, I mean, we have this history of being good at gymnastics and swimming, and so no wonder people are 5 years old doing gymnastics and swimming very competitively because they want to be like those heroes. Same thing with Japan in the 90s, especially when they were successful with rally car racing.